We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat.
Shalom, 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 y'all. Shalom. It's your boy Michael Israel here. And as you see, we have
Sister Koya Israel. Shalom, Boker Tov. Good morning. We're happy to have y'all with us this morning. Shalom.
And we're gonna this is a continuation of the lesson that we had last week, which was titled How to Love Your Spouse Righteously.
Part 2.
And this is part 2. But if y'all could just bear with us, I'm gonna continue sharing this, and then we'll get the show up and going. So just bear with us, and what y'all can do, y'all can enjoy our brother Lorvin's latest track that he released off his upcoming album.
Forever.
So we'll play that, and the title of the song is Forever, and we'll be getting started here, not in forever, but momentarily. All right, so enjoy.
Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise, which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever. You created the world and the universe, and everything that lives and breathes. You made it happen with just words. You have no beginning, and you have no ending. I think it's amazing, it's beyond my understanding. So what can I do if I don't have you? It's all about you, cause without you there's no me. I need a hand, cause I'm just a man. You're always there to teach me the way. I pray that I never fall away. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise, which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever. Sometimes all I wanna do is jump, lift my hand up high and stomp. Clean me with the water, baptized, get dumped. I'm filled with the Ruach and now I'm drunk. Oh, one time for Shabbat. I'm working every day, can't wait for my rest. Holy days coming and I'm impatient. Hanging with the Mishpachah, good vibration. So what can I do if I don't have you? It's all about you, cause without you there's no me. I need a hand, cause I'm just a man. You're always there to teach me the way. I pray that I never fall away. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise, which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever. So what can I do if I don't have you? It's all about you, cause without you there's no me. I need a hand, cause I'm just a man. You're always there to teach me the way. I pray that I never fall away. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise, which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, his kingdom will reign forever. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise, which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that. That was, again, our Ak Lorvins. And the title of that song is Forever. And he will be performing, just giving y'all a quick update, he will be performing at the Spiritual Combat Orlando Shabbat that we're going to be having.
Yes.
Tell them a little about it, Corey.
So the Orlando Shabbat is coming up March the 2nd in Orlando, Florida. My husband's also going to put the flyer up in a moment, but
it's up there.
It's going to be praise and worship led by Lorvins, the man. I'm also going to, participate in that. And then the Shabbat lesson will be by my husband, Michael Israel. And
I'm gonna do a lesson on community. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be a good lesson, and that lesson is gonna explain why I'm even in Orlando doing a Shabbat. So right. So it'll be a good edifying lesson. I think everybody will enjoy it. But with all that out of the way, and one last thing, don't forget, after this lesson at 10 o'clock, we're going to have our prayer call. We're going to have Malachi and the rest of my prayer soldiers on there. So if you need prayer and deliverance from any type of situation,
get on the call.
It's the men's prayer call. And we'll go over all that information a little later. But anyway, with all that out of the way, what we're doing is we are gonna continue right where we left off. Okay, Mika. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue right where we left off last week with because I started teaching on how to properly love your spouse, and Sister Koya, she had input on it, and talking to other brothers and sisters and stuff out there, a lot of people had a lot of strong opinion, which would appear some of the opinions people had. Like I said, I'm still healing up over this cold, but I'll tell you this, and that's the reason why last night we were gonna do this last night, but I wasn't even feeling up to it. But I'm feeling a lot better now. Anyway, some of the opinions people had would appear to be in opposition, but what I'm gonna show you, Sister Koya got her scripts over there. What we're gonna show you is that the opinions aren't in opposition. It's just things need to be made clear, and things need to be approached from, and I don't like using this word all the time, but sometimes I just have to use it from a holistic. You have to approach the situation from a holistic perspective, from all angles, so there's no confusion. And that's what we're going to do. That's why I got Sister Koya here. Hopefully, those men who are watching, hopefully they have their wives watching. We're going to make sure we don't leave any meat on the bone. We're going to make sure we address all the concerns properly on what's going on. But yeah, so like I said, the topic was, how to righteously love your spouse. And basically what this could be boiled down to is the fact that when you look at the Bible's hierarchy of how things are, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna go through my little introduction and then I'm gonna bring us into the first part of this right now. So when you look at the Bible's hierarchy of how we're supposed to operate as man and woman, there's definite roles. There's definite hierarchies. It's specific. There's rank, structure, order. There's no equality in there or anything like that. But I'll just read through my statements, and what I'm gonna show you is where the issues come in at, where all the problems come in. Okay. And I heard it was put good on a show. They put it in good terms on a show that I had watched earlier from I forget what the brother's name is. I'll shout him out later though. But anyway, and they made a good point. What happens with this word is, inevitably, when you come into this Hebrew Israelite truth, whether you're coming out of Christianity or out of the world, as a man, as a woman, women quickly find out that all the power that this world has given them in the Bible is not, it's taken away. A lot of it's taken away, and that power is given to the man. Okay? And a lot of women can wrestle with giving that power back up. Now, what the men find out coming into this is where this world took power away from you, told you was nothing, this, that, and the other, and kind of subjugated you to your woman. Well, now a lot of the men find out that, hey, I have this power, but that power can easily corrupt you. And one of the things where, you know, when I listened to what Corey was saying last week, because I know how to listen through what she's saying, and Corey, can you see what they got something going on out there that you need to. So what I found, you know, me and Corey being married all these years, I know how to listen through what she's saying, and you know, I interpret womanese. I understand what she's really getting at and everything like that. And I understood the point she was making. And it's something I appreciate, because a lot of times I tell men, you have to rule your house and establish your power. But what I always have to remember to emphasize is, because a lot of men will go from one extreme all the way to another and be just as wicked. You know, they'll over dominate the house and end up, you know, it'll end up hurting their marriage. So what has to be the point that has to be driven home is, for both sides, there's a balance, there's a righteous way to do all this. It's never in extremes. And that's why a lot of people have issues with the camps, because, again, these camps, you know, and I've watched a lot of them teach to the wrong person, they're going to turn this man into a tyrant in his house. And what I'm teaching, what I want to be clear about is, I'm not teaching men to go home and be tyrants, because this is what happens. A lot of men, they learn, they've never seen this before. They've always been dominated by women. They were dominated by their mother. They're dominated by their wives. And now they realize they got to rule their house, and they're frustrated because a woman won't cooperate. And then spiritual combat might come along, and I show them. I show you techniques of how to get your wife in order through being a man, through standing on what you say, through, for lack of a better word, dare I say, through being dominant. But there's situations where you might have to be dominant, but what is so seductive is putting on a dominating spirit. It can be seductive because of how efficient it is and how compliant a woman is when you're truly walking in dominance. But a woman is a reflection of who you're being as a man. So if you're being dominant all the time, eventually it's going to turn her off, and she's going to go back to being rebellious again. And then you're going to get what? Frustrated. And we're going to get into all this, but you as a man, you'll get frustrated, and then abuse will start. You know, physical abuse. Okay? So that is, did you have anything you know?
Yeah. So many of you know that my husband,
stand back a little, so there you go.
Okay, there we go. This is I'm still getting used to all this. So
yeah.
Many of you know that my husband, he has been teaching this for years now. This didn't just start last month or last year. He's been teaching this for almost 6 years. And I never come on video, and I never talk about it, and I never express, my point of view, or I never bring out any scriptures about it. So last weekend, there was a counseling session, okay? And I think it was at the point to where I got frustrated. And I said, okay, somebody needs to say something and speak up for some of these women out here who are being mistreated. And the men too. The men are being mistreated also, okay? I'm not biased. Mm-hmm. You know, there needs to be a balance. And so that, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to bring back to the marriage. All right? So that's it. So, and when we say balance,
what I realized was of paramount importance is anytime I'm coming out, and I'm telling you, I'm talking about the phone calls we got and people I talk to. Anytime, for women's sake and for men's sake, anytime we're teaching on these topics, it has to be approached from both sides equally. Otherwise, and I'm telling you, because I'm talking about there's couples, there's relationships that hinge on, when I say hinge, you talking about these relationships, these people in are like powder kegs, and information tipped slightly, maybe in the female's favor. The dude, it could be at a point in a relationship where the dude could get so frustrated that it just turns into physical violence or something, or it could end in divorce. Same thing. Information tipped slightly in the man's favor, and leaving out certain piece of information, that woman could be at her wit's end. You know? So it's imperative that it's brought out balance. And I'm telling you, even in the Christian community, it's excuse me. In the Christian community, in the society, and in the Hebrew Israelite community, I'm gonna just be 100. It's leaned towards the woman's favor. There's a heavy in a lot of the Hebrew Israelite community, and then as a knee-jerk response, you got a certain portion of the Hebrew Israelite community. They're extreme the other way into the men's area, where they turn the men into tyrants. Then you have everything in between. So, hold on. I just need some more. All right. So, like Marinara Yah said, she was saying right. They teach the men to rule with an iron hand, and you can't. That's not love. That's not how Christ ruled us. What I teach is there's a time to man up and stand up, yes, and put women in order and in check. There's a time for that when they're behaving a certain way. Right. And you hear Koya back there agreeing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And my husband has been teaching this for years. Mm-hmm. And I never disagreed with that at all. And
never. But what my issue is nobody teaches that. Like, why aren't there any lessons out there that tell a man what to do when the woman is just totally out of order, dysfunctional, this, that, and the other, all that, and there's all these issues going on? You never hear that. And that is part of frustration. And then the only place you do hear it, when some of these Hebrew Israelite groups do teach about it, they're so far to the extreme. And it's like, to the man who's just sitting there frustrated, he's like, man, it's so attractive. He goes home, implements it. I mean, goes nuclear on his whole family. Yes, yes. It actually works, because there was a need for it. And then he's like, well, that's how I need to rule then. And he just continues that way. Yeah. And that's just as bad as... You see what I'm saying? So there has to be taught balance. There has to be taught, look, when they acting this way and they behaving this way, check them. Boom. Yeah, you need to be this way. Absolutely. Okay? But when they're doing this, or they're questioning you on this, or they're frustrated with you because of that, this isn't the time to be, to go kneel before Zod on them. You know what I'm saying? And be dominant. Sometimes... Like Sister Koya last week, she came in here, and to the average Hebrew man, they were like, "Oh, he need to make her kneel. She heal that woman." But me, I'm hearing something else. I'm like, because I know my wife. Right. I I know when it's an alarm. I know when it's rebelliousness up in her. I know when she's just not feeling good.
Right.
And I know when it's a serious concern. Well, what a lot of these groups are telling men are, oh, if they're talking against you or something like that, it's rebelliousness. Crush it utterly, you know. And that's not the case. And that is why I get a lot of calls I get.
Right.
Because men aren't sensitive. And when I say sensitive, I just showed you what sensitive is. Understanding, is she voicing a legitimate concern? Is she challenging you for power out of the brainwashing of this nation, that this nation has done to our women? Nope. Is it a power challenge? Or is she maybe not feeling good? Or is it a legitimate concern that you need? So you need, and a lot of men don't have those filters on. It's just one way. Okay? But same thing with women. Women have to come into that awareness and realize that this society is in the Bible. It's all through the Bible. It's obvious all through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelations. It's obvious all through there that Satan went after the women to turn them against us power-wise. Said women are their oppressors. Children are their oppressors, and their women rule over them. And there's all types of verses related to that all through the Old and New Testament. So we can't act like, okay, because you got the camps on the one extreme, and then what the other groups do is that are opposite from the camps and all that stuff. What they're doing is they don't read any of these scriptures. Oh, because we don't want to sound like the camps. Well, no, there's a balance. You know, being this dominant, aggressive man, God didn't make us to be dominant and aggressive and warriors for no reason. There's a time for that. Right. And just so I could keep it 100, for reality's sake, look, there's a lot of times when our women, that's what they need. They need a man to stand up to them, put their feet in, and just tell them like it T.I. is. I'm just telling you. All right? They need that. But it's not all the time. And like after you know, like with sis. And let me tell y'all this about me and Sister Koya also. Let me say this. Why me and Sister Koya are a unique couple in this Hebrew Israelite walk and all that stuff like that. Because, and we realize now the Most High took us through the level of dysfunction that we were in when we first got married. Like when we first got married, I'll just tell you about me. Like I was an alcoholic. I was out there, you know, I was a mess. Emotionally, all that stuff. She had her issues too. And we came in, and over the course of 10 years, because we both wanted the relationship to work, we worked through our issues and grew through all this stuff. So we don't just talk about what we're saying. No. We know about it. We've been through it. We've experienced it, and we've watched it in other relationships. We watch it tear other relationships apart and fix them. All that. You know, we struggled through all the issues. So the Most High took us through a unique education, not by no seminary. I ain't been to nothing like that. I've been through and Sister Koya has been through the school of hard knock life. Absolutely. And ain't no college or university or letters you gonna put before your name. Soldier Trump. Certified. Yeah. They ain't gonna, because you got these clowns coming on thinking just because they went to college that I should even listen to you, and they're clowns. Like, it's like, dude, where's your clown makeup at? Because you're not hitting on that. I can rock with people from the school of hard knock life. Yes. And some of y'all know who some of y'all I talk to, like, the ox I talked to that is so real, like I got an ox, he grew up in gang life. Like he know life. And like just talk and brothers don't even be realized. I be talking to these brothers and I be just getting stuff out of their spirit, be learning. Like these dudes got warrior spirits and you can learn from them. And then you talk to one of these clowns who got, I don't even know what the letters are they having. Professor, Dr., Bishop, Super, Lord, Priest, God, whatever the hell they call themselves. I'm this. And for me, I'm going to just be 100 with y'all. I got to keep it 100. I'm going to be honest. When I see somebody calling themselves all these titles, I automatically I'm like, okay, they probably don't know nothing. That's why you put all them, and typically that's how it pans out. They don't know a damn thing. Okay, you want to know what's before my name is Ak or Brother Mike. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I just wanted to put that out there. Baby, did you have anything?
No, not at the moment.
All right, we are out of a lot of this. So one of the another point I wanted to make is men don't know exactly. Ugo put forth, a man know not how to rule his own house. How shall he take care of the church of God? And that's a good verse. That's 1 Timothy 3:5. And when men, what's happened. Because of the programming from this society, when a man hears rule, he automatically goes to, okay, she got to get on her knees and worship, and And what they don't hear is how Christ ruled with love and patience. And patience don't mean never doing nothing. Patience just mean you're not easily frustrated, And so I watch a lot of men who think they rule their house well, but they're really just men who are easily frustrated. And when somebody don't do what they say, they're ready to put their damn hands on. Mm-hmm. And so one of the big issues I see with men is the inability to deal with the frustration. Okay? And the big issue I see with our women is they don't listen. They swear but you as men, we gotta understand the level of brainwashing our women are and have been subjected to by design, by this nation that took crafty counsel to destroy us. COINTELPRO, the attack on the family, all that stuff like that. That is documented by the government that they purposely went after the woman and used her as a weapon against us. So, and if you don't think they did that successfully, they did it successfully to a point where only the Most High can unwire that thing. Because I'm telling you, this mindset is so deeply ingrained in our women to the point where, like, you gotta slowly pull this thing off them, because you can hurt them if you pull this deception out of them. They wrestle with it. And when I say this deception, is feeling like, hey, I need to be questioning my man on everything, which they could question us, but not knowing how to be submitted. Right. But what we got to understand is these women have never seen a submission model. Mm-hmm. They've always been told that, the man is to worship them, basically, and it's equal, which equal means they run the damn show. But we have to understand the level of deception. We have to understand that we have to understand why it's so important for us as men to protect what our women are getting in their heads. That's why I come against Christianity so daggone hard, because the programming in Christianity to encourage our women to not be submitted to us is strong. It's heavy in there. I see it coming in the Hebrew Israelite community a lot. And what is taught in the camps is the other extreme. But then you know, I already talked about that earlier, you know. So, and when the reality is, it's a balance. It's a teaching of the whole thing, of the whole law, statutes, and commandments. And so yeah, way too far. Exactly. Marna, she put, they took it way too far to the point of saying you don't need a man. And see, this is the thing. You go into the Chinese culture. The Chinese woman knows her role, and she understands how her role contributes to the greater good of her family and her nation. You go into the Indian culture. The Indian woman knows her role, and she understands how that role contributes to the greater good of her family and her nation. Okay? You go into the Middle Eastern culture. It's the same thing. When you even go into the white culture, and when I say go into white culture, you got people on the bottom of the white culture, but by and large, the white woman understands her role, respects her man, and understands the benefits of standing behind him and the greater good for her family and for her culture. Okay? We are the only culture where it's all this, everything been twisted upside down. And this is only in the what? This is only in the last 30, 40 years. Back in the 50s and the 60s, the black woman understood her role and understood the benefit of her doing what she needed to do and the benefit of it to her family and to her nation. It's only now where, like the sister said, that thing's been turned upside down. Okay? So understanding that, and this is what's taught. This is taught out there. But I'm gonna tell you what happens. Our men hear that and they're like, yeah, I see that going on in my house. Yeah, this, that, and other. So what do I do? And nobody's telling anybody what to do. And the only person telling somebody what to do are some of the people on the far extreme catering to the men. They're like, go over there and just reach in and rip that wickedness up out of her. And it just causes disaster. And that's not how to do it. You do it with patience, long suffering. And again, I said, patience and long suffering don't mean you just gonna sit there and shut up while she, you know, is yanking things all around and it's just a mess. No, but there's a process to that, which that's something I could teach in another show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go into all the tactics, or if you want to call that, or techniques that you'd use to rule your house well as a man, but you rule with wisdom, with righteous wisdom. And a lot of men don't do that. A lot of, like they say, power corrupts. Like when men see how, like what the camps say, some of the stuff the camps say, it works. I'm not saying it don't work. Like you come at a woman that way, you gonna get a change. But it's only a matter of time before it begins to destroy that woman, because you're not ruling in love. Right. All right? Go ahead.
And I think at the end of the day, if you're married and you really love each other, you want to win your husband and you want to win your wife. Both want to win each other. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm-hmm. So... No.
I was just saying...
And also...
So make sure you're in the screen. In order to stay in the screen, you can stand straight up. Works. Yeah, you can stand straight up. And see?
So, okay.
There you go. See?
I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm moving.
So, yeah, you have to seek to win the favor of you know, your husband, your wife, because, you know, ultimately that's why y'all got married, because y'all favored each other. Well, I hope so.
Yeah, and let me hit on that real quick. Let me hit on that point real quick.
That's an easy one.
So, Sister Cora brought up a good point. She brought up a good point where something a lot of men don't realize is they're like, oh, Torah is love. I be saying Torah is love, but what men leave out is like the romance, or what would you call that? The
action behind the love.
The action behind the love. Whatever, women know what it, you know. And I'm guilty of it. I'm just telling you, I'm guilty because I
don't subscribe to romance because of the first, you know, Roman. It's Roman. It's pagan.
Well, and I would
to romance, but there is a thing called love that we do subscribe to, and it has action behind it.
And so, like for instance, what ends up happening is a lot of dudes is just like Torah, wife, obedient, Torah. And Koya made a good point. She was like, when you won me over and I was attracted to you, you wasn't quoting Torah. Like, I was being romantic. I was getting roses. I was taking her out places, you know, romancing her, you know, loving on her and all that stuff like that. And then a lot of people, a lot of brothers, especially when they begin subscribing all the way to the other extreme with the camps and all that stuff like that, where they just like dominate. They leave that out. Go ahead.
Yeah, they'll say, well, honey, you know I love you as Christ loved the church. Or love is keeping the commandments. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, can you make that relatable to me? What does that mean to me? Specifically, you know, love is keeping the commandments, but make it relatable. Something that can be measured, okay? Don't just say, well, I love you like Christ loved the church, and you don't have any action behind that, okay? So, I mean, that's not fruitful.
Right. So, all right, so Sister Ashley, she made a good point here, because that was another one that I forgot about, was the sister said, truth, I was always told to be independent no matter if I have a man or not. A lot of women were not taught correctly, so we're having to unlearn and relearn. And that's a good point that the sister put, is...
That's excellent.
You know, is the fact that, you know, you get all that bad programming, and then you get a man in there who doesn't have understanding, and he's telling you, hey, you need to do this, or you need to do that, this, that, and the other is right here in the book. But the way this woman been programmed her whole life is against the book. So they're wrestling with that thing hard. And I understand it to the point where if I'm met with resistance, it's like you're going to be patient. How was Christ dealing with us? How did he deal with you? How did he deal with us as men when we were in sin and struggling with all this stuff? And he was like, nope, I told you to do this. You done. And, you know, and actually, no, he just patient. Yeah. He lets you slowly grow in it. And that's the thing. Now, I keep saying it. Because there's a tendency for people to say what I just said, do a whole lesson on it, and I emphasize that patience and long suffering. There comes certain situations when you're dealing with these women when they're just being hard-headed and rebellious, and they need to be checked and corrected. Right. And you need to man up and check them on it. Right. And tell them what the truth is and what needs to happen and why, and there ain't no time for feelings and emotions right now. Because, I mean, and, you know, so that I have to make sure I emphasize that, you know. Because a lot of women be like, yeah, see, what he said. Okay. But there comes that point where a woman just needs to, you know what, even though I feel this way, even though I know this, that, and other, I need to shut up and do what needs to be done, because this brother is making an effort to take us in a righteous direction, and I got to resist this spirit that keeps coming up in me to fight him. I got to begin to see where this emotion is rising up in me to just constantly come against him on every little thing and frustrate him. That's a spirit.
Right.
Okay? So let's see. You are... Exactly. Robin put, you were created for the man. It was not good for Adam to be alone. Exactly.
Right.
That's good.
Absolutely.
And folks be wrestling. I mean, women wrestle with that. Like and I watch men get mad when women wrestle with that because they don't understand the whole picture. When I say the spirit world has come again, like these women have been molested and just feel some type of way about men because they've been sorry and then let them down. And that should give you, that right there should give you some patience and long suffering so you ain't getting easily frustrated every time she fussing at you and all that. She need a damn punching bag to vent on sometimes and to resist and,
Well, no, she should never use
not hit. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
Not literally.
But what I'm saying is understand, like, you should have to win a woman over to this truth. Because if she tried to just will herself over into this after going through all these hurts and pain and trauma, right. It's going to be an issue.
Yeah, and I think, in light of all this teaching that, you're talking about or you're bringing out.
You got to stand back so you're in the picture. There you go.
So, yeah, a lot, like my husband said, a lot of times we're seeing out there in our community or just out there, period, where the man is, he's saying, well, you need to win my favor. You need to win my favor. You need to do it my way. But it has to be a balance between, yes, the woman winning the husband's favor, but also the man winning the wife's favor. Because, like the scripture, he who finds a wife obtains favor of Yah, And so that's very practical. Very practical. And that wasn't, it's just, I'm just bringing it back out again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, exactly. So, let's see.
There just seems to be an extreme.
Yeah,
huge extreme.
And that's what we're trying to, and that's the point, that's the main point of this whole thing here, and clearing all this up, is we got to understand there's a balance. Okay, there's a balance. Our men have to learn how to be patient, how to be able to deal with frustration. And the only way you're going to be patient and know how to deal with frustration is understanding the whole dynamic of why we're where we're at, why the woman's the way she is, why you the way you are, all that stuff like that. Same note, the women have to learn to come out their emotions, stop being hard-headed, be humbled down, and be willing to consider, am I rebellious?
Right.
Have I been hurt?
Right.
Do I have a spirit of rebellion against him? Begin to look at those emotions and watch them. Are these things coming up? Where did this come from? Am I harboring bitterness from the way other men have done me in the past?
Right.
But as long as we keep, because I always say this, it starts with the man. When the man creates an environment where a woman can kind of relax a little and begin to calm down and begin to look at herself. When a man not getting frustrated and she begins to see how she really is, like, you know what? I just snapped on that dude. And all he was trying to do was do this or do that. And you know what? He didn't even get mad back. He just walked off. And as time goes on, them women, they're going to begin to look at themselves. Right. Okay? This ain't what you do all the time. Sometimes I'm gonna reiterate. Sometimes you do. You got to stand up and take the reins and be like, you know what? There ain't no time on debate on this one. Yank, and take the power and rule your house righteously. But again, it's like a toolbox, and there's different tools depending on what you're working on. A lot of these camps and stuff, or whatever you want to call it out there, a lot of them is MC Hammer. You know, hammer, 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 hammer. You know, when in reality, sometimes you got to use the multimeter. Yeah. Sometimes you got to use the diagnostic tester. Right. Sometimes you got to use the screwdriver. Right. Sometimes you got to use the ratchet. You know? And the Most High gave us all these tools. They're right there in the book. They're right there in the Bible. Yes. Some of y'all might be like, oh, well, Mike, you ain't kicking no scripts. That's all they've been kicking to y'all is scripts. Christianity been kicking scriptures to you. Some of these Hebrews everybody throwing scripture and ain't nobody explaining nothing.
This is the practical class.
Yeah, this the practical class. This the practical class. You know? So yeah, so what spiritual combat teaches, you know, and I'm just putting everything in light in this particular lesson, but what I teach in spiritual combat, especially to men, is, okay, these are the tools you have at your disposal to use in your relationship. Sometimes you use the tool of romance. You know, you go out and y'all enjoy each other, and you know, sometimes you use the tool of, you know what, she did that, but I understand. Understanding is a tool, okay? Knowing, okay, this is her history. This happened to her. This is her understanding. This, boom, 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 boom. That's a tool. Because that right there kills a lot of frustration. Sometimes being a damn man, standing up and letting her know the way it is, and her feelings get a little hurt because you tell her the truth and tell her, look, this is the way it's doing. It ain't up for debate. It's all tools. Okay? But we got to teach the tools. Go ahead.
We do have to, we have to be careful with that hurt her feelings doctrine.
Because, see, and let me...
Balance. Let's balance this out again. Mm-hmm. Because
we got to talk on that.
That can be very extreme, as where, okay, is this maliciousness, or are you just telling me the truth and I might get offended by it? Mm-hmm. All right? Now, don't be out there just telling her, oh, you know, just being, like I said, mean and malicious, and then you done got sidetracked with your character, and you just being wicked. Mm-hmm. And that's why
I was warning y'all that what has happened. A lot of the Hebrews that are more extreme with dealing with the women, a lot of them advocate that all the time against any what they perceive as an uprising, you know, and which I'm getting ready to get into that. But the thing is yeah, there's a time for that, and you see Koya quick to come over here like hurt feelings. Let's balance that out. Whoa. Yeah, and that's because she knows, and women know that hurt feelings get their attention. They know that. But it can also sow a bad seed. It can sow a bad seed. And that's what I was saying earlier, is when men see how efficiently they can get a woman in line, they'll use it by hitting on them feelings. Oh, they're like, man, this hammer work good. It just, whatever's there, just break it apart. Yeah, but you just broke the thing. Yes. You just broke it. Yes.
dangerous. That's dangerous.
But yeah, the hammer, don't get it twisted. The hammer works.
It will work.
That's why she want to make sure.
Wait a minute. Pause.
Don't hurt feelings all the time.
Right.
But there's a time where you got to just stand up and go right down the middle. But like I said earlier, there's a specific time. So before you go jumping in your relationship, like, all right. Michael said, hurt them feelings. That's what I need for her. No. Before you go take your little tool set out there to go try to work on your car, learn what each tool does.
Yes.
And learn how to use all the tools, because what you're going to do is go out there and tear your car.
Yes.
And then you ain't going to be able to go nowhere.
Nowhere.
And you're going to have a mess.
Very unfruitful. And I think sometimes, the men and the women use that tool. Not just the men.
There's a lot of verbal.
Yes.
It ain't sometimes all that's going on out there in the Hebrew community is a bunch of abuse verbally. Yes. And a lot of times it results in physical violence, and women are held just as responsible for their verbal abuse as men. And so women like, well, you ain't my dad, blah, blah, blah. And you know when it's verbal abuse because you getting the neck roll. You know what I'm saying? And then what the men find out is, well, you need to be, what these camps train them up is like, you need to be more verbally abusive. Mm-hmm. And sometimes...
and we're not throwing the camps under this is happening everywhere. In
our
community, Christianity, all over the whole world. Okay, we're not just throwing our community up under the bus. This is happening everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, but in the black community.
Yes.
Yeah, and we get the calls, but
yes, we do.
But the thing is we're bringing it in the. We're doing two things. We're shining the light on. We're not just shining the light in one little section. Like, see? We shining light on the whole thing.
Right.
Okay? You can't be a verbally abusive woman and not expect repercussions.
Right.
Okay? Again, you can't be a verbally abusive man and not expect repercussions. A psychologically damaged woman now.
Right.
And just is not helping our nation. When the model is plain of what he gave us, how he ordained us to function, like he made it so plain that there's no error in getting it wrong, as Christ loved the church. Mm-hmm. Okay, he just told you that, so go back and study Christ all through the thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and then the state of the... what Adonai. I forget what the dude's name is. He had the show though on talking about this. But it just, we got to be aware, what a relationship does. It's a furnace that perfects you. Yes. It's a furnace of affliction that perfects you, but a lot of people let their relationship burn them up. So yeah. Samantha, you can turn that light on if you want so you can see. All right. So let's practically, treat. Let's see what y'all putting here on Facebook. On YouTube. It says, treat one as you want to be treated. That isn't hard. Wisdom is the principle. Exactly. Okay, so somebody put, I had to even watch how I use the sound of my voice. It has surprising effect with my wife and daughter and son for that matter. Exactly. Sister, but I believe all of those things you spoke on need to be understood before a couple gets married. Each needs to let the other know what they understand. Well, I'll tell you this about, in the perfect world, all that would happen. But I'm just telling you what I deal with, and when it comes to counseling and the phone calls I get and the stuff I hear, and I'm talking about, it's people who call themselves, I'm not dropping names, but you'd be shocked. But the people going through these situations, I'm going to tell you this, when you get married, a lot of stuff you don't even know about yourself. That's why I said marriage and this relationship is a crucible of perfection. It's a fire that perfects you. It's going to bring, because I thought I was pretty good when I got married.
And so did I.
Yeah. And looking back, I was like, damn. You come into this thing and you grow in it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we wish we could come into it and know all this, but there's certain aspects that never get challenged. And then you throw kids into the mix, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that gets boom, and it's right here in your face.
You throw kids in the mix, you throw businesses in the mix, you throw jobs in the mix, you throw life in the mix.
Yeah. So she put, husbands need to understand that at times it is not what you say, but how you say it. Wives need to understand that the colonizers have programmed us. Yeah, they've programmed them. Yep. And where I'm gonna tell you where the issue's at, because you're saying what needs to be understood, and I'm gonna put my finger directly on where the issue's at. The teachers out here, the so-called biblical teachers, aren't teaching none of this stuff. One of the most, I ain't gonna go into. All right. So look, we need to focus on being exactly, and the only way our women are gonna focus on who they need to be and we're gonna grow is we need to be teaching on this more. Okay, and not just on a surface level, but like I like to do, go in and break it down. Even if you don't need to know the most molecule, the smallest part, go into it just to make sure there ain't no confusion. And not teach it from a feminist perspective or from a chauvinistic perspective. Right. Teach it from a biblical perspective. And that is not, it's hard to find anybody coming from that perspective. Yes. And it's getting it from that perspective there's going to be a little pain on both sides, but it's doable. Let's see.
And I'll say this again. My husband has been teaching this over 5 years, 6 years now, okay? And he didn't just, start teaching, about relationships. He taught about a number of things, but mainly relationships. And I never come on here and have anything to say about it, because I understand that what he teaches is the truth, all right? Also, like I said, we get a lot of relationship counseling calls. All right, a lot of them. And so last weekend, we were in a situation where a counseling session, and it set me off. Absolutely. And I said, you know what? There needs to be some balance to this. We can't just, be biased against the women. We can't be biased against the men.
All right. So, let's see. But yeah, so like I said, Okay, I'll just check in my time. Because I just wanted to remind y'all we are going to have the prayer call here at 10 o'clock. But yeah, so it's definitely a balance. And I'm, you would have to agree with me, because in the Bible, you see Satan his whole strategy is go after the woman, empower the woman over the man. Mm-hmm. You see the Jezebel spirits run around everywhere. You see the Jezebel spirits in the Christian church is the Jezebel spirit, literally, with a lot of the stuff they do. You see it in the Hebrew Israelite community, where there's it's a lean towards the women and the way they look at stuff. Like I saw, I'll just keep it 100, the way people typically look at stuff, and then the way everybody else, the way, I look at stuff, and the way the Bible might look at stuff. I've seen stuff where it was like, oh, the man hit that woman, or that man killed that woman, oh, those wicked men, or that man did this to that woman, did something and hurt her real bad, like some wicked stuff. I'm like, what the heck? And a lot of people are like, yeah, oh, those wicked men. See, them men are so bad. But then I looked at one situation with a man that did something bad to the woman. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the only way that man would do that to that woman is if that woman had cheated on him. Yeah. Sure enough, woman had cheated him for years. Okay. Another situation, the man that went and killed the woman. And I'm like, okay, something real bad happened. Come to find out, the man not only found that the woman that cheated on him, also found out that the kid she had wasn't his, and he had been taking care of it for years and all this stuff like that. So it's like, why aren't, but I watch them throw the article up, and it just say what the result was, but they're not looking at the whole story. That's why these relationship problems continue to go on, because everybody want to just point fingers. It's the man. When the Bible tells us and warns us all through the book about women.
Right, it does.
Yeah. And no uncertain, there's some verses in Ecclesiasticus that I kind of tend to, even myself, I don't push them too hard. But it says in no uncertain terms that women are wicked, or can become very, very wicked to a whole nother level. Right. This is why men have to lead and be that protection against them, because if you're not there as a man leading and being willing to stand up and guide them in the right direction, they are, outside of society's brainwashing, oh, you a powerful black woman, our women are not equipped. They're not strong to be out there like the world be telling them to. Because the world trying to destroy them.
Right. That's right.
Okay? The Bible outlines what the hierarchy needs to be. I don't care what the world say. I don't care what she say. Right. If it's right, I'm moving in that direction. I'm going to protect my woman. I don't care how strong you think you are. Right. I know the level of deception out here in the world, the brainwashing and all that. Come on.
And I'll say this. I'm not that strong woman like that. I've never been that type of woman.
Wait, you not what?
I'm not that strong, black, independent type of woman.
Well, sister, but Koya, trust me, Koya is strong.
I am, because I've had to be. Okay, and that's because
in a righteous way.
Exactly, yeah.
But she ain't fearful and scared.
Nope, never. And I'm never trying.
And weigh all of what?
120 pounds. There y'all have it. So, but I'm never trying to rule over my husband. Now I might,
she have her moments.
Him.
Yeah.
I'll question him,
and that's why I wanted to talk. Let me write that.
What's that about? I'll question him. But I also trust my husband, because I will be the first one to stand right here in front of all of y'all and say, this man has never lied to me. period. All right? So I trust him. I trust his leadership. But yes, I question him. And sometimes in these counseling sessions, yes, I get frustrated when we're counseling people and I feel like it's going in one way to the extreme. I don't like that. I don't like, anyone being done wrong. No. So, but yeah, I'm not that independent black woman stuff. I don't subscribe to that.
And I want to hit on that real fast. Is women questioning you. They should. Like, I welcome her questioning. I welcome her direction on stuff, There's some things where it's just going, I'm doing it my way, period. I don't care.
Right.
But I need to be questioned because I'll be screwing up a lot of stuff. I'm not perfect, But that is the issue where, you have to be submitted unto me as unto the Lord. Yeah, but didn't they question the Lord through the thing? You see what I'm saying? They questioned the Lord in the book. Well, look at Abraham. Or no, who was that? Lot.
And Lot was crazy anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah. But they questioned, they're like, but Lord, why do you want me to go here? He didn't say, a lightning bolt. Don't question me, So understand that, okay? On the questioning thing, I expect to get questioned. But when it turns into a nagging, annoying, and it's not questioning anymore, it's just being petty and trying to annoy you, you could discern that. All right, so let me see. Y'all put some stuff in. Exactly. So Ugo was saying it too. They never say what the woman did.
Right.
And then if you bring that up, because one time I brought it up, they're like, who cares? Who cares? A man should never kill a woman. Absolutely. But let's learn from this situation. Like, it's not like the dude was like, hey, I love you, let's get married. Okay, yeah! And he just killed her.
Right.
Like, that's... and that's what they had. Like, they had, like, dudes come home from work, put their lunch down. Hey, come here, baby. Wife come to him. Here's your plate, honey. Thank you, baby. Wham! And it punches her in the face. Like, they act like that's how abuse goes. When, in the counseling, you hear something different. Oh, yes. Like, I hear a lot of, she been punching me in the head for years. And then this one time I came home and I just wasn't feeling right. And she punched me in my mouth while we were arguing. And all I seen was red, So it's like, but that never comes out. It's just, the abused woman. Or, the this or the that. I get to the bottom of a matter. Yeah. People who call me for counseling, you'll see, I just sit there asking questions and letting them talk for a while until something clicks because they've painted a picture of the dynamic of the relationship, and then I can be like, okay, here we go right here. But there's a lot of with it, Christ, the weighty matters are judgment. That's one of the weighty matters. Is having righteous judgment. Not favoring the man, not favoring the woman. Well, let's get to the whole situation. Right. Right. And that's what causes a lot of frustration and causes a lot of men to act out of frustration because they know there's no good judgment out there. Same thing with women. Causes a lot of women who are being dominated by men and stuff like that to act out of frustration because there's no there's no righteous judgment out there. Okay? So sister, this Akbar, he put, I think it's ultimately about us men being weaker than we're willing to own due to whatever reason, unstable or not able to rule our spirit like in Proverbs. Yeah. But like I was saying earlier, and you can look in history, recent history, and see, it's by design. They attacked our family and broke our families apart. And now men aren't even raised by men, so they have no control. It's all by design. Where what we literally, when you begin, and I do it in my videos that I teach, when you begin to pick apart what we learn in this society, what we learn in Christianity, and then what the Bible says, you see we're literally trained to destroy ourselves. Okay? By design, equally. It's not a one-sided thing. At the end of the day, what's going to happen is the men are going to raise up against the odds and take their houses back over. And that's what we're seeing now. But, you know, don't get it twisted. It's not just the men or just the woman. It's a combination of both. The woman's acting disobedient and not listening or whatever and disrespecting you, and you haven't been giving the tools to deal with that. You see what I'm saying? Sister put, church system caters to women because they are the biggest supporters. Exactly. They're easier to beguile and get that paper out of. And I showed you that in that book, 48 Laws of Power and the Art of Seduction. That's why they target the women. So and then these preachers you see with the looking gay, dressed all perfect, flowers, and talking all like fairies and all that stuff with that Joel Osteen spirit, your antennas should go up. They targeting you women.
One of the sisters says, sometimes sisters punish this man for what that man did.
Exactly.
And that's true.
Yep.
And also, sometimes they harbor unforgiveness in the relationship of the marriage. Men and women do this. That's why it also tells the men, don't be bitter against your wife. Okay?
And
balance it out.
Well, and what it requires, because if there's a man and a woman, a couple watching, it requires both people to humble down. Like a marriage, if there's issues in a marriage, if one, I tell people, if one of y'all's in the truth, that marriage will work, you know, and you can begin to win it back over. If both people, claim to be in the truth and are humble and righteous, that means they're willing to look at themselves. So an argument happens, then y'all back off and be like, okay, where was I at issue in this? At fault.
And honey, I'll be the first one to say, no, I was wrong. I'm a woman. I was wrong. I was so wrong about that. I went about that wrong. And I got a real man here. He will always say when he's wrong, he's off.
Right.
And that's why we work together so well and why our marriage has lasted for so long, because we don't deny our faults.
Right.
You should never deny where you're wrong at. You know, even the Bible says, confess your sins one to another that you may be healed. Okay, because in that confession, you will be healed and you will forgive and you can be forgiven as well.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Can you take care of that? Yeah. All right. So somebody put truth by design. However, abuse on either side will not fix it. Yes, we do destroy our own self. Yeah. And what you got to see, and what I seek to put out there and expose is how in Christianity they literally are setting you up to destroy your house. You know what I'm saying? Yep. The Christian doctrine. I ain't got a problem with Christians.
Right.
And I'm quick to say this too. There's Christian pastors out there that teach almost literally spiritually what I'm teaching. Spot on. They just don't know the doctrinal truth of the book. And then there's a lot of Hebrew teachers that's just a hot mess. I wouldn't send my enemies to them. Okay?
Right.
Okay. So Corey, talk to him for a sec. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
Come on, sir. You come up here. Go, sir.
I'm not sure what to say. Well, my husband's taking a break for a moment. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say at this point in time, but you know, if you're out there and you're married or you're seeking to find a spouse and become married, you know, some things that might help you is, yes, first of all, have that relationship established with our Elohim. Have a relationship with him. Know yourself, you know, and don't be afraid to be alone. I think that sometimes, you know, when we're in that, you know, I want to say, where we're looking for someone to marry, some of us are afraid of being alone. And that's not healthy. You don't want to be in a situation where you're just looking for someone because you're alone. Even though the Bible does say, you know, it's not good for man to be alone. But sometimes you need that time of, you know, self-development, self-improvement, and knowing who you are before you bring your life into the life of someone else.
Right.
So, but he's back now.
So, and real fast on meeting somebody, and you know, I do classes on that. I've done them in the past. What you need to, because I was a single person, couldn't figure out why, but one of the things you need to do is you need to know what you need to be working on when you're single.
Right.
Learn what you need to be working on. And when you, because I had to figure out what I needed to work on when I was single, and I didn't have all this information. Well, now I do lessons on, I could, you know, show people, hey, this is what you need to be working on if you're single, so that you can, it don't take long to meet somebody. The process. I've done lessons on it. Especially if you're in this truth, it doesn't take long to meet somebody in the truth. People have written me, hey, Michael Israel, I live way out here in, you know, wherever I live at, you know, and, you know, I've been, say they live out in Nebraska. I live out here in Nebraska, you know, the population of my town is 8 people, and I haven't met anybody. I'm like, well, no kidding, because you're in a town of 8 people, none of them black, and none of them in the truth. Okay? So what do you need to do? Just go to one of these Hebrew Israelite events. You know, find a ministry that's teaching this thing in spirit and in truth. And when you see they're having an event, you know, say, polish up your pennies, go to the event, and guess who's going to be there? A whole bunch of people that believe the same thing you believe. And there's going to be some men's there. Or there's going to be some women's there. You know what I'm saying? Go up and talk to them. Don't go to the event and be like...
With the sour face.
I'm fully... I got the spirit. I'm like, okay, well, show yourself to be friendly.
No one wants to talk to
you. Yeah, I ain't coming up to you. You sitting over there looking crazy. Yeah, I'm like... I'm going to walk a little further away, make sure you don't bite me.
Right. But also... You know, talk about the purpose of marriage. And then, you know, knowing that you're both the, you know, the man's purpose and the woman's purpose, how that has to come together. And y'all have to have goals for that purpose. Oh,
well, yeah. And that was something we saw like a good message on it where the guy was talking about how, okay, it says woman was created for the man, not the man was not created for the woman. So part of, because I have that little thing I break down where a woman needs affection, direction, and correction. Well, part of the direction and helping a woman have direction and purpose is you having direction and purpose. Yes. You got to be doing something.
Yes.
Like, for instance, I do the spiritual combat thing, and I'm doing stuff related to that with my ministry. And sister, just talking to Koya, we realized that she has a spirit where she loves doing administrative type stuff or
Right.
planning, scheduling,
Right.
doing
Yes.
event planning, all types of stuff like
I've
that.
been doing that for years in my career as well.
Yeah.
Actually,
Which I hate doing that stuff, And I was like, well, dang, he put you here, and you've been sitting here with this skill, and I'm sitting here suffering through all this, and implemented that, and it's like, man, marriage is a blessing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what it did, my purpose gave her purpose. You see what I'm saying? So that was one of the things we were talking about with marriage,
Yeah, and then, some people, they get married, okay? Husband and wife, they get married, but they don't have any goals for the marriage itself.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't sat down and planned it out. Okay, do we want to have kids the first couple of years, or do we want to travel? What do we want to do once we get married? Who's going to, go to the grocery store? Just some simple practical things. Who's going to, be responsible for this? Who's going to do that? Just sit down before you get married and, think about all that stuff.
The best you can.
The best you can.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's facts. Yeah, my man Gabar said, we all crazy without Yahuwah. You damn right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
So understanding that woman is your helpmeet and how that pertains. And like Sister Koya, she naturally had that helpmeet spirit. Right. When she came into this marriage, she wanted a family. Right.
Absolutely.
She wanted kids. Koya, she want to go out some nights, go out, eat somewhere or whatever, do stuff. At the end of the day, I'm going to just tell you about it. At 10 o'clock, she better be in home, and her whole family better be in the house at 10, because at the end of the day, she just rather be home with the family and really not go anywhere. Right. Time to time, she want to go places, but she just like being home and the family be home. Mm-hmm. And she just has, so a lot of women have been programmed with that independent woman mindset. I ain't no cook, domesticate or whatever, all that stuff.
They want to be out on every scene.
And it's been put in them. Mm-hmm. It's been put in them so much that they feel that thing. Yeah. And some of the women don't even want to have kids and all this stuff like that. And they don't, I'm saying that to say what they don't realize is that's been programmed into them. They don't realize that was programmed into them by their parent or by their mother, by society, by their aunties and stuff, by their friends, by the school, by the college, and then by the corporate job and all. It's all been programmed, and then they turn, boom, here they come, they 35, and their biological clock's ticking, and they struggling with depression, and they can't figure out why they just not happy, even though they done went through this junk that they've been programmed with, and they can't figure out what's going on in between, why they depressed and why they not happy, and why they got this desire to have kids now, and they don't got a family. Like, they can't figure out why. And what the reality is, what the why is that you need to consciously work to get your mind aligned with what the Most High programmed you to want. Not to what society deceive you through your carnal lust to want. Okay? And that's a heavy thing. That's a whole nother show. Yeah, I do a lot of research to bring that whole thing out. But it's the reason I'm saying it is the more personal, the more universal, it's widespread. Like, look, I'll just tell you this. In Atlanta, this is the pattern they talk about. Girl grows up, single family home. Don't trust no man. Be independent. Independent woman. Strong, black, independent woman. Okay? Which there's an article. It says the strong, black, independent woman the new face of depression. Okay? So the stuff I'm telling you, I'm not playing around about. Independent woman, she go through this. She go through high school. You got to go to college and become an independent, strong black woman. They go to college. You are a strong black, independent, strong black, independent. They graduate. They get into corporate America. Strong, black, independent, single, depressed woman. Unfulfilled, independent, strong, black, depressed woman. And it goes on. And what's happening, a lot of these women, then they get out of college, they establish their career, the money's coming in, and, you know, around 27, 28, that desire to have a baby and that biological clock start ticking, okay? 34, 35, 36, 37, and they go out. They just settle for some dude. Oh, you know, I know he wears guy makeup and his eyebrows are meticulously cut, and, you know, he wears pink shirts all the time, but I mean, he's still a good guy. And they marry him and sleep with him and get an STD. And now they are angry. Now that they transition into the angry black woman. And I'm just telling you, that's a regular cycle you see a lot out there. You see what I'm saying? So that whole thing is by design to destroy us. And they'll have, like, Sister Koya likes sewing. She like mixing up that skincare stuff, and she likes cooking. She's just always like straight traditional. She like keeping the house clean. It's all damn hell, like it's a damn museum. But hey, all praises, you know. But she like being a traditional woman. I gotta drag her out here onto the show. She don't like being in the front and doing all that stuff like that.
There's been some injustice with some of the stuff that I'm hearing. I'm like, wait a minute, there just needs to be somebody say something.
Yeah, but she don't like being in the front and all that. She prefers to kind of stay behind the scenes and help out and stuff like that. She's a traditional woman. But a lot of women look down upon that. Because what they drinking the societal Kool-Aid, and when you look among our people, where you see the biggest void at is in women who can take care of a house, take care of their man, keep them proper nutrition and feed the family and maintain all this stuff. Okay. So yeah, and then I'll say this too, and they've set a society up to where you know, they drag the woman up out of the house, so it can be tough. All right. So Sister Ashley put, we need to learn to discern and choose our spouse wisely, and again. I would have to lean back on these church establishments and Christianity and their influence, because what they're pushing is, they're pushing the choosing their spouse by feelings and emotions, and not choosing them according to thus saith the Lord. Because when you look in the Bible, it's very logical. You could spot somebody with bad news a mile away. Right. It ain't hard. Like, the warning signs are all there. The Bible clearly shows you how to choose that other person, but it don't get taught. You know?
And I would say, if you are in the process of dating, y'all need to talk a lot. Talk, hear him out, listen to him, listen and feel him out, and know what his core beliefs are. Women, do the same. Do the same, you know, or men do the same.
And
listen to her. You know, find out what she believes, if she believes anything. You know, get the conversation going, and definitely listen.
And don't be like, oh, well, I can fix him up. I fix her up, her and all that.
Exactly, because you're gonna be so disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't get sidetracked by that cute face or those hips or whatever men, you know, get sidetracked by.
Hips and dips.
Make sure you are listening and watching. You know, both people, man and woman.
So look, yeah, that's good, sister put. But check out how the system set all of this up. Home economics was taught in school. So girls learn how to sew, how to cook, how to keep a home. They cut that out. Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you. And what they've done is made all the family duties that would have been done inside the home, and they've taken the woman out the home so that she could be a slave for their society also. And all those duties that she would fulfill, now we're paying them money. The oppressive society, we pay them money that we make. So we further pay our money to them so that they could provide those services for us. Okay? And it's just more slavery because, you know, all the money you make, you're paying it back for them. Majority of the money you're paying them back to them for is stuff that, you know, they're necessities, you know. So you just stay in this bondage, you know. Yeah. So, yeah. So, well, what I teach here is, when you're evaluating potential spouses, you got to be brutal and ruthless with your time. You got to be brutally, ruthlessly efficient. Don't waste time. If you see a red flag, cut them off. And the reason I say that, because the more time you spend around that person, the more emotionally attached to them you're going to become. The more that clouds your judgment, and the more you're going to just kind of, oh, well, it'll be all right. It's no big deal. So you got to be like, you got to be looking like, okay, they off. All right, they out. Like, and a lot of people, you could just screen them out just by looking at them. Like, you can look at how they dress. You could discern. You just got to really weed people out. Okay? So, sister put, most black women only saw and know mother. So they do the same thing with their husbands when a man needs a wife partner. So, yeah, so I wanted to hit on that is, yeah, a lot of, most black women do not know how to deal with a black man at all. And when I said not a black boy, a real black man. Most women be like, well, I can't meet a good man. When a good man comes along, they run them off because that man's going to come, when he comes across them, he's coming with leadership, direction, he's driven, focused. And the woman's like, who this dude think he is? Because all the men they've run into have just been they've been taught that men are below them. And to be independent of them. So an independent black woman is naturally going to push away a real black man. And a lot of these women, when they do it, they never, when they're doing it, it don't even occur to them what just happened or what just came across them, you know? And these women are, why can't I meet a good man? You have been brainwashed to naturally push them away. And you won't even realize it. It's like the brainwashing they've done to us in this society is so good that it's just like a natural response to push away a man that is righteous and he's on his purpose and he's walking the walk and he's on point. And I'm telling you, I've seen it. Okay? All right. All right. So let's see what time. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be getting started here with the prayer call soon.
20 minutes.
Yeah, about 20 minutes. If you're hooking on, if you could get it up and going, and I know Malachi, I talked to him last night. He's going to be in there. But yeah, you're hooking on. If you could get the prayer line up and going, and we'll be rolling into there soon.
Shout out to the spiritual combat prayer warriors. Yes. Yehukanan Yasharallah and Malachi ben Israel.
Yeah. Yahawada.
Yes, those brothers are about that work.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Dawid, my dude.
Yes.
Yeah. These some. Yeah, and I'm gonna be in there. And what we do, this is a men's prayer. Here, I'll pull it up here so y'all can see it. All right, so here it is right here. This is the men only prayer call with the spiritual combat prayer soldiers. Initiated by Michael Israel. I wouldn't put led because it's led by some of the prayers that we have in there.
Yes.
And like I said, it's always immediately after my Shabbat broadcast. The dial-in number is right there. Okay, so y'all could dial that in. So you see the dial-in number there. And for the women who want to call Sister Only Love Austin of Women of the Whirlwind, they have a prayer line Thursday night at 8 p.m. And they said it's been some heavy stuff, spiritual movements going on. You know, they fast and all that. So if you're a woman, you definitely need to call in on that. Get involved with that Thursday night at 8 p.m. And pray with some other women, man, because, you know, we definitely being oppressed in this captivity. On the surface, everything looks good here in America. It's a disaster up in here, okay? Right. People are suffering. They need prayer and truth.
Yes.
So, in order to get on their prayer line on Thursday at on Thursday night,
you have to email them.
You have to email them. And the email, you can email them now so you get the information. But the email is womenofthewhirlwind@gmail.com. Just send them an email and they'll give you that access information. And that's Thursday at 8 for the women. But for the men, that's going to be today. And like I said, the format of it, we all come on there. You know, the leaders take over. And they take down everybody's prayer. They make sure they got everybody's prayer, whatever they want to be prayed on, taken care of. They do some introductory prayers. They pray on everything that needs to be prayed over. And then after that, we just have a fellowship and discussion for, you know, as long as things go. A lot of good brothers on there. If some of y'all are isolated and y'all need to meet some other brothers to chop it up with in the truth, you come on there and do it, you know. So it's definitely a good environment for that. So, but yeah, so yeah, your hooking on is getting that up and going. What I'm gonna talk on some more. Okay, somebody, hold on one sec. Something else I wanted to speak on. Koya, tell them about the our upcoming Shabbat.
Yes.
Talk some more.
Excited about this. So this is our first traveling Shabbat. where we will be in the beautiful city of Orlando, Florida. We actually, we live like 2 hours away from Orlando. But there will be much fellowship there. We have a lot of people that we know in that area. A lot of people will be coming out to meet us for the first time, to get the word, to get in on the praise and worship led by Lorvins.
My man Lorvins. And Lorvins, if y'all don't know, Lorvins is the writer and singer of the Spiritual Combat song. It's Spiritual Combat. Hey,
he's so
hey.
talented.
Y'all know it ain't me. Y'all just heard me try to sing it.
Engineer, he is the bomb.
Yep.
Okay, but I'll also participate on the praise and worship. When I was a part of the Christian church, I was in praise and worship for several years. So I'm looking forward to sort of getting back in that, aspect of the ministry. And so,
Sister Ashley, type in there. I don't know where you're at. So let me know where here is, and I can let you know something. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're just excited about that. I think what we're going to do is, and my husband can bring y'all up to speed, we're just going to sort of travel throughout Florida, and, have Shabbats in Tampa, Orlando, Miami. So
yeah, and what the I'm gonna tell y'all what the vision or whatever is. I'm just telling you, I'm not called the Spiritual Combat Shabbat, whatever, but I have no intent on planning churches or something like that. What I want to do is begin to initiate congregations in these different areas so these brothers and sisters can begin to come together and function in community, in biblical community. And just like we're doing up here, because we have Spiritual Combat has Shabbats right here in Jacksonville, Florida. I've kept them low key, but people have leaned on me saying, hey, there's other people who want this,
fellowship.
So, and like I said, I got my email up here. If you're in the area or whatever, and you want to come out, there's my email right up there at the top of the screen. If you're interested in coming out, info@spiritualcombat.org, and we'll let you know when we're doing our next one here in Jacksonville. But our Orlando one is the one coming up.
March the 2nd at 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, but the intent is, again, we know there's Hebrew, we know our brothers and sisters are down there in Orlando. Orlando is centrally located to where if you're in Miami or Tampa or Jacksonville, whatever, it's not too far. It's not like coming from Miami all the way up to Jacksonville, or Tampa all the way to Jacksonville. It's centrally located. We can chop it up, and you can meet the brothers and sisters out there that are among you, that are near you, because we know, and I got a show coming up soon about what's going on in this culture, in this society. We know pretty soon what the Most High is doing. We listen. We listen to what His Word says. We know we need to begin to come together. For them hard-headed people who still don't want to come together and think these other nations got their back, they're going to find out very soon. They're going to be, the Most High is merciful. So he's going to put more pressure on these people to come together and for us to unite as a nation. And we know, we see the writing on the wall. We know this is coming. So we need to come together in spirit and in truth. And that's what we're going to begin to do. Like I said, the lesson I'm going to be teaching down there is going to be on community. And, just the importance of us really not just stepping away from just studying the scriptures and regurgitating and just having a bunch of knowledge. We're going to talk about the works and actually putting this thing into action. Or better, as I like to say, the practical application of this word to alleviate the pressure of this bondage that we are in, in Babylon over here.
Right, and so many of us are just isolated. All we know, so many of us are just isolated with our fellowship. So, yeah, Orlando is a great opportunity if you want to come out, if you want to fellowship. Let's, get together. Let's get into the scriptures. Let's reach out. You shouldn't just be on Facebook fellowshipping.
Yeah, don't Facebook fellowshipper.
Facebook fellowshipper.
Yeah.
So we want to just sort of travel throughout Florida and just fellowship with some of the people we know in those areas.
Yep. And we look forward to meeting y'all, man. Y'all come out if
it's gonna be a good time.
And definitely, let me pull this back up again. Definitely, let us know you're out there. Any of y'all, wherever you're at out there, definitely let us know. Contact us on the email because we're gonna do this in Florida, but we want to do this other places too.
Yes, very exciting.
It's what I'm talking about. Because I live stream the lesson, but what you're going to find is what I'm teaching and what I'm talking about. It ain't nothing complicated. It ain't no slick stuff. It ain't. I'm trying to form, Michael Israel's empire or something. It's very straightforward what I'm trying to do. And when I break it down, you're going to see the practicality of it all. And you're going to realize it's the next level that we need to be going in. The spiritual combat, Shabbat or the Jacksonville Shabbat we had here was very productive. A lot of people, a lot of families showed up, and I think they got a good practical understanding of what I'm trying to do. It ain't really what I'm trying to do. It ain't even about me. It ain't even about me leading anything like that.
We're just bringing people together.
We just showing them.
Years when we came into this truth, we were so isolated and so off by ourselves, and that's not that's not how we're supposed to be. How we're supposed to be. So,
So, but and it's not. I'm not trying to be a leader or nothing. It's going to be all the people have equal. So we're just trying to establish something that is, we're not trying to do our own thing. We're trying to establish the Most High's thing.
Right.
There we go. That's a better way of saying it.
Community.
All right. So let's get back. Prayer call. Let me bring that up again. All right. So the prayer call. Go ahead. Tell them the information again.
All right. So this is the men only prayer call. All right. Which is about to happen in the next 5-10 minutes. Dial in number 605-468-8715. Access code 533144. Please get on the call, men. It's just such an important time to be praying before our Elohim. If you need deliverance, if you just need somebody to talk to, that fellowship is available after the prayer call, okay? So it's been so fruitful, and we've just heard so many good things about it. The women, I don't advise the women to get on that call.
Yes, men only.
Men only. Let them have that confidentiality, ladies. But we do have something available for the women. All right, the women of the whirlwind, they have specific times where the women pray. All right, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. You need to email womenofthewhirlwind@gmail.com to obtain the access number and the dial-in number. So make sure if you want to be on the prayer call, women, you need to do that today. All right. So, but that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you, babe. Hold on one second here. Sister, or where are you at? Teresa Billard. Just go ahead and email us at our email address. Here, I'll put it up here. The email address is info@spiritualcombat.org, and we'll talk about some options for you, being where you're at. Okay. All right. So I appreciate y'all. So yeah, man, y'all definitely email us. Just let us know who you are, where you at, so we could begin to get to know you. info@spiritualcombat.org, wherever you're from, you know, because pretty soon what we're going to do is see what areas there's a small amount of our brothers and sisters at, and we'll come out there and try to help y'all get something going in your area, you know, and just putting in that straight kingdom work.
Connecting people.
Yeah, go ahead and draw that up here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's on the couch too. But yeah, so with that said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it out with I'll leave the prayer line information up. I'll just be flipping around, but take it out with Lorvin's song. Lorvin is the writer of the Spiritual Combat song, and the title of that song is Forever, on his upcoming album, We the People. So I'll be putting all that information up there. So enjoy this song. Men, call into the prayer line. Look forward to seeing y'all on there. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Enjoy the music.
Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever. You created the world and the universe, and everything that lives and breathes. You made it happen with just words. You have no beginning, and you have no ending. I think it's amazing, it's beyond my understanding. So what can I do if I don't have you? It's all about you, cause without you there's no me. I need a hand, cause I'm just a man. You're always there to teach me the way. I pray that I never fall away. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever. Sometimes all I wanna do is jump, lift my hand up high and stomp. Clean me with the water, baptized, get dumped. I feel with the ruach and now I'm drunk. Oh, one time for Shabbat. I'm working every day, can't wait for my rest. Holy days coming and I'm impatient. Hanging with the mishpachah, good vibration. So what can I do if I don't have you? It's all about you, cause without you there's no me. I need a hand, cause I'm just a man. Always there to teach me the way. I pray that I never fall away. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever. So what can I do if I don't have you? It's all about you, cause without you there's no me. I need a hand, cause I'm just a man. You're always there to teach me the way. I pray that I never fall away. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, his kingdom will reign forever. Yahuwah, he lives forever. Sing his praise which dwelleth in Zion. Our Elohim, his words are perfect, and his kingdom will reign forever.
All right. And for those of y'all over there on YouTube asking who it is, he's right there in the comments. L&L Music, that's him right there. His name is Lorvins. He sung the Spiritual Combat theme song. And I see y'all asking who he is. That's him right there. He's watching. He's in the comments. His name's Ellen. He goes by L&L Tracks on YouTube there. His name is Lorvins on Facebook. So just check him out. You know, he'll be out there at the Orlando Shabbat performing this song and his whole album live. So y'all can worship with him. Sister Corey will be heading up too. Anyway, with that said, y'all, I'm Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. Men, get in that prayer line. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Spiritual Combat Show, Michael Israel. Shalom, y'all.